Jason, I'm sure happy with the result this past weekend. Talk about your team's performance overall.
Yeah, I think we started the match fairly strong. We were keeping possession of the ball and creating some chances. A little bit unfortunate, or fortunate, sorry, where they had a chance off a corner kick and the balls hit the crossbar and come down on the goal line. I think, if I'm being honest, I think it was a goal, so we kind of dodged a bullet there. But once the game settled down, I thought we were the superior team and created more chances, more quality chances. And the boys showed good character to come from behind and get the result. So it was a much-needed performance and 3 points.
When you have two players like Chris Minella and Jay Chapman bouncing between the first team and your team, what problems are posed to you to try and integrate them back into the lineup?
I don't see any problems, to be honest with you. They're good players. They're first-team squad players, and you could see in this particular game their quality from being around the first team coming down to our level, and they were making the difference. And I think that's extremely important, not just in that past game, but moving forward as well. Any player that comes down from the first team should make the difference, and they both did well in the game. They're good guys. They're team guys. They're not selfish guys, so that always helps in order to integrate them into the squad.
Taking on Harrisburg on Wednesday, they just fell recently 5-1 to Louisville. How do you take advantage of an opponent like that without overlooking them?
Well, I watched their game. Previously, they had 2 games against Richmond where they sort of split games, so they did quite well in that game. With regards to Louisville, Louisville's a good team, as we've seen. And the striker, Matt Fondy, scored 4 goals in the game, so anytime a player scores 4 goals, it can be very difficult. But I think they'll bounce back. You know, their coach is a pretty strong character, so I'm sure he'll have them ready for the game on Wednesday.
Would you say the win on Saturday is a really big boost for the club going into facing Harrisburg?
Yeah, you're playing against a team that is not made up of young kids, you know, so an established team, Richmond Kickers. So for us to perform in the manner that we did against them, I think our players will take huge confidence from that. We'll do a video session in the next 20 minutes so the players will see all the positive stuff that they did from the game, and hopefully they can take that into the game against Harrisburg. It's a game that I feel we need to win. We need to show that we can put together back-to-back performances, which we've not done so all season. So I think it's critical that we have a level of consistency.
And would you say that so far the season's beginning to wind down now? What positives can you really take out of the season?
Well, in my mindset, the season's not over yet, and although the schedule says that we have 8 games left, if we start putting together back-to-back wins and consecutive wins, then who knows, maybe we can get above that red line, which would mark the playoffs. So in my mindset, you know, we have to continue to perform game in and game out, find that level of consistency. Maybe we make the playoffs, maybe we don't. But also, you know, players are also fighting for contracts, so there's a hell of a lot to play for.
Are you happy with the team's performance so far?
It's been up and down, which you do get from young players. If we're honest, you know, we're probably the youngest team in terms of the entire league. Montreal also plays a lot of young players, but that's what the team is there for. So there has been positives. There's been some downtimes, which is normal in professional football. So we just have to look at the positives and then try to improve.
Just knowing that, how young they are, how difficult is it for you as a coach to try and instill that confidence in them day in, day out when maybe they're not getting the results that they would hope for on a given day?
Yeah, I think that's down to our entire staff and trying to set that environment in training. I'll be honest with you, over the last 10 days we've had some harsh words with them in video sessions and also on the training pitch, but I think that's necessary in their development, where it can't be rosy all the time. It's professional football, so they have to understand that, you know, there is constructive criticism to help them improve, but also the times when we can sort of put an arm around them and sort of pick them back up. But obviously it's a results-driven business, and you know, you want to, the more you can perform and get results, the better off the mood and the harmony of the team is going to be. That goes without being said, so it is a challenge.
And still remaining consistent then with the philosophy of this team, keeping it young rather than bringing in maybe some veteran players to provide that leadership?
Yeah, I think that defeats the purpose of, you know, the work Gianni's doing and Danny Dicchio in the academy, Anthony Capitosto, as well as Stuart Neely and Michael. They're all trying to progress and move players along, and if I then start to play older players that might be past it, which might help my results, but at the same time it doesn't help the development and the structure of the club and what we're trying to do. So I have no problems with putting in 16, 17-year-old players. They might not be able to do it consistently for 28 games, but they've shown that they can pop in and do it, you know, for a couple games here and there. You give them a little break, and then you bring them back into the team to challenge them again. So I think we're on the right path.
Is there anything about the Toronto landscape in general that makes it a rich area for finding talent?
I think you just have a multicultural community and so many different young footballers coming from all different walks of life, and bringing that blend together and trying to harness it and put the better players with the better players in order to train together, and then the cream of the crop usually rises. I think we're fortunate in that sense, for sure. You know, I come from Brampton, and it's a hotbed for football. A lot of players have come from Brampton, not just in this football club, but also national team players. So I think, you know, more communities are popping up in and around the GTA, and I think it bodes well for Canadian football.
And speaking of Brampton, was Kyle Larin ever on the club's radar?
It's funny you say that. My cousin is his godmother, and she brought him to my attention when he was about 13, 14 years old, and I was working in TFC Academy at that point in time. However, he was with Sigma at the time, and you know, they always remained loyal to the guys at Sigma, which, you know, you can take your hat off to them, because they were quite loyal to them, and said, you know what, we're going to stay put for the time being. We're going to stay where we are. We think we're moving in the right direction, and thankfully he's made a career for himself. But yes, he was definitely on our radar.